So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to, thank you. I'm going to try that again, actually. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Awesome, thank you. Welcome to day 2 of Ignite. I hope you all had a good day 1 and a good but not too good evening 1. I see some of you maybe a little too much fun on day 1. My name is Paul Nash. I'm a program manager on Azure Core Compute. And our team is responsible for defining the hardware roadmap, all the servers that we deploy for infrastructure, and then the VM products that use those servers. So what I'm going to do here in the next 45 minutes or so is kind of go one level deeper than Erin Chappell's talk, if you happen to catch that yesterday, which sort of went into some of the compute features, but then she also went into storage and infrastructure. So this is kind of the next level down, walking you through some of the announcements that we're making here this week. And then I'll kind of show you at the end where there's another level down where some of my teammates will be going into even more detail for specific features. So I want to thank everyone for being here. I'll tell you a little bit about my personal journey. I started walking here at 5 o'clock yesterday. I wanted to see where the room was, and I just arrived about 10 minutes ago. So for those of you who are in the room and know how far away this is from the rest of the convention center, I really appreciate you coming out to hear the talk. So a little bit of exercise, get the blood flowing, at least in one arm. How many people here are currently deploying VMs in Azure? Let me show of hands. Cool. How many of you are just thinking about deploying VMs in Azure? Excellent, thank you, welcome. Hope you get some good information here. How many of you are not using VMs but are using other services? Okay, excellent. How many of you are tired of raising your hands? Okay, cool. All right, let's get into it. So like I said, I'm going to begin by setting up a little context here, talk a little bit about Azure's mission and how you can use it to run your business critical workloads. And I'm going to kind of give you some perspective on the business value that we see and our customers see with Azure and with IaaS in particular. And then I'll spend most of the time talking about new product announcements and present why we believe Azure is the best cloud in particular for some Microsoft workloads. And then I'm going to give you some pointers to where you should go next. So, fancy build. So our vision in Azure is to make Azure the world's computer. And you've probably heard that a couple times. This is something that is really meaningful for us because that's sort of the essence of what we see that's happening in cloud transition today. And what that means is not necessarily bringing all of your stuff to Azure, but being able to use Azure technology, Azure services, wherever you need to be deployed. So hybrid by design, across clouds, on the edge, on-prem, and in the public cloud. So we've heard loud and clear that our customers need that flexibility and they need open systems to meet your business goals. So we've been making tremendous investments across that to support any workloads, anything from an interruptible or maybe grid computing or highly scaled task to something that's high performance computing or your most critical, mission critical systems like large SAP deployments. So finally, we're delivering on that by building into our infrastructure a strong foundation with consistent and familiar security and management controls that are built into the platform, not bolted on. And all of this, of course, is interconnected with our fast and reliable global network. So I want to take a couple seconds to talk about some customer examples here. So we have thousands of customers, many thousands of customers on Azure today. And one of them is H&R Block, and I'll tell you a little bit about their story.
H&R Block requires a highly resilient infrastructure.
Due to the seasonal nature of the tax business, we might have 5 times of workload requirement on the last day of the tax season.
This presents a tremendous opportunity for us to adopt a more effective elastic model. So we started moving aggressively into Azure.
As part of our data modernization initiative, we are trying to simplify our data stack. SQL Managed Instance was providing us the most seamless migration path to Azure.
The first phase was just lift and shift. We're reconfiguring our environment to move from an IaaS to a PaaS model so that we can really take advantage of cost savings around infrastructure and things that are going to now be automated.
Native integration of Azure Databricks reduces the operational complexities and gives us dynamic Spark capabilities for our analytics workload.
Investing in Azure Data Service and data platforms has really set up an amazing foundation to use AI and machine learning to better serve our client.
We're trying to iterate even quicker by implementing Azure DevOps processes. We have just started to implement CI/CD to deliver product functionality faster.
In 2019, we served almost 20 million tax returns running in Azure.
Migrating our platforms to Azure has really allowed us to deliver new products and services quicker.
It allows us to make our client experience better, which really at the end of the day is why H&R Block is here.
Cool. So you might be thinking just about now, am I in the right talk? Isn't this the VMs talk? They barely mentioned VMs. Do you even know what you're doing up here? So here's what I want to say. So first of all, they had that keyword IaaS in there. But what they said is, we started with IaaS and we're moving to PaaS. And really, actually, if you double click, almost everything that they're doing, there's a VM in there somewhere, whether they're using it directly or not. And so they said SQL Server. They're moving to SQL Server VMs for their performance. They're using IaaS, they're using Databricks, they're using PaaS. This is a common pattern that we see with our customers. And so even if you're not directly deploying VMs at this point in your journey to cloud, all the technology and performance optimizations and cost savings that I'm about to talk about, those all apply indirectly into the services and products you might be using. And just to give a second point on that, Geico Insurance is another example. So their situation was that they had many years of their data kind of locked up in a mainframe in their sales department. And in order to become more agile and compete against some of the disruptors in their industry, they really wanted to get to that data and be able to develop quicker and innovate faster. And so what they did is they took that million lines of COBOL code and they rewrote it all into .NET apps. They deployed those apps with cloud services, and they based all that around SQL Server DB on Azure VMs to store and manage that data. So kind of another template that's not directly a lift and shift, but more of a redevelop into cloud. So interesting use case there. In fact, behind both of those is SQL Server on Azure, which we think is a real highlight. And I want to just kind of drive by this benchmark study that's come out recently. So GigaOM, which is an independent research firm, has recently published a study comparing the performance and price performance of SQL Server on Azure VMs versus AWS VMs. And this is an OLTP benchmark showing up to 3.4 times faster performance and up to 87% less cost than AWS. So there's a full blog that gives kind of the details on what the results were there, what the setup was. But this is a common thing that we're seeing behind a lot of customers moving to cloud, is they get a lot of advantages, particularly from SQL Server running on Azure VMs. In fact, Forrester recently did a study. So they have a study that they call the established methodology. They call it total economic impact, where they go in this case, they interviewed 9 different customers, and these are in-depth interviews, sort of like a case study, and asked them what were the results that those customers saw by moving to cloud. And the numbers are pretty clear. So these customers saw a 478% return on their investment, a net present value of almost $11 million, with a payback in just 3 months. So I don't know if it took 15 minutes or less, but that's some pretty amazing results. So that's kind of why we're here, why we're talking about infrastructure, why we're talking about cloud. So when I was building this talk and looking back at some of the stuff we've done just in the last 6 months, man, that's a lot of stuff, and I'd probably need a little bit more than 45 minutes to go into each of these. So what I'm going to do instead is focus on a couple different areas. So stepping back for a minute, looking at our customer requirements, we're investing across 3 different dimensions in our infrastructure that meet different needs. First of all is the need to provide you with a comprehensive infrastructure that delivers choice and flexibility. So there's a number of examples that I'll dig into here, talking about the DA and EA v4 VMs that we're announcing today, Azure dedicated hosts, and some new VM sizes that help you right-size your workloads. I'll also be mentioning briefly some news around Azure VMware solutions. Second, as your footprint's growing, you need scalability and uncompromised performance. And that's why we're announcing a number of new features this week around Gen 2 VMs, a whole bunch of new features in VM scale sets, and we'll be making generally available proximity placement groups in the near future as well. And then finally, I don't know, is anybody here interested in cost savings in cloud? Yeah, okay. There's a few hands. I suspect some of you are maybe tired of raising your hand. So cost effectiveness, cost management, we always hear these are priorities from cloud customers. And so as we're squeezing more efficiencies out of our infrastructure, our interest is always in helping you get those cost savings as well. And so I'll talk about that for a little bit. All right, choice and flexibility. All right, so to start with, we offer virtual machines, different types and sizes that can address almost every type of workload, ranging from something like a dev test workload that might be running on a burstable instance where you don't need a high performance instance at all times, but you need something that's running reliably and consistently, and you want to optimize the cost of that, to more long running and mission critical production workloads, whether that be customer facing apps or websites, or more business critical backends, something like SAP. We're building an open platform with a healthy and rich ecosystem, and all these VMs feature strong support for both Linux and Windows workloads. So we have a number of different VM series here that are optimized for different dimensions of resources, from compute, memory, disk, HPC, or GPU-intensive workloads. And that portfolio is growing pretty constantly. So just as an example of some of the different capabilities you can find, we have storage-optimized VMs that can reach up to 3.7 million IOPS with local NVMe storage, which is pretty ideal for a lot of in-memory database use cases. And that's well above the throughput that we see from other cloud providers today. We also offer high-speed networking, multiple tiers of high-performance network-attached storage across many of these VM offerings. We also have I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour of some of the blue diamonds here. You can see maybe in a little bit of the corners. So our NDV2 VMs are one of our newest families, and those are based on the latest generation NVIDIA Tesla V100 GPUs. Those each have 32 gigabytes of RAM on the GPU itself. And they're all NVLink connected. So those machines have 8 of those GPUs tied together. And they're based on the Intel Xeon Platinum 8168 processor cores. That's a Skylake generation processor. It has 40 non-hyper-threaded cores for maximum performance on those machines, and up to 672 gigabytes of RAM on the main machine. So you combine that together, it also has 100 gigabits InfiniBand. And those machines are really well designed for your largest AI and ML training simulations and workloads. They work with all the latest sort of frameworks, including CUDA, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Caffe, et cetera. One of the others on this slide that I'll point out, we recently announced our HB and HC series VMs, which allowed up to 10,000 and then 20,000 cores of MPI connected performance. Again, these are HPC use case VMs. We're also announcing our HBV2 series. So this is kind of in the bottom center area of the slide. The HBV2 series expands that capability so you can have a single MPI cluster in a single VM scale set of up to 36,000 cores. And those are all InfiniBand connected. And if you need larger than that, you can actually work with us to get a cluster that's up to 80,000 cores. So lastly, I want to talk about the DA and EA v4 series, general purpose and memory optimized VM series. Those are up in the corners here, but I'm actually going to go to the next slide, talk about this. So we've been working closely with our technology partners, including AMD, to continue bringing you the latest innovation to enterprise. And we were the first global cloud provider to announce the availability of VMs based on the latest generation of AMD's EPYC processors, in this case the 7452, or what's sometimes called the Rome processor. So we announced that on preview on the very first day at their launch event, and today we're announcing that that's now generally available. We were the first cloud to announce the preview, and we are also still the only cloud, as far as I'm aware, that you can get those in GA. So there's actually 4 different types of VMs here. There's the EA v4, the EAS v4, the DA, and the DAS. And so the difference between those is the amount of memory and whether or not they are optimized for high performance storage. So all of those are now available, and the S series also supports premium SSDs, and they'll include UltraDisk support soon as well. So next, we recently announced a preview of Azure Dedicated Hosts, which is a new service that enables you to run your organization's Linux and Windows virtual machines on single-tenant physical servers. And what that does is it provides you with the visibility and control that you need for some of the most challenging corporate compliance, regulatory requirements, something like a PCI workload, where you have specific requirements about what VMs can be running on the same hardware, or something where you have a license that's a more physically based license, where you need to license the whole machine, be that Windows Server or another package sitting on top of that. And you'll also be able to control maintenance windows and gain more control over the placement of VMs that are being placed on those servers. So this is a good example of where we're specializing the availability of infrastructure and your level of control over it in order to make cloud work for any kind of workload that you might have, not just for sort of more web or cloud native workloads where it may not matter where the VMs are running. We understand that there are a lot of use cases you might be looking at lifting and shifting into cloud where you need some more specific control. So Azure Dedicated Hosts is currently in preview in most Azure regions, and we plan to make it generally available by the end of the calendar year. So additionally, we've also, around this launch, we've extended Azure Hybrid Benefit to work for Azure Dedicated Hosts. And what that means is that if you're a customer with software assurance, you can now use your Windows Server and SQL Server licenses as you deploy your solutions to Azure using Azure Dedicated Hosts. And that gives you unlimited virtualization rights, subject to the physical capacity of the server when you're using Windows Server Data Center Edition. And you can also migrate to Azure simultaneously by utilizing your Windows Server or SQL Server licenses on-prem and on these VMs at the same time. And you can see more detail about that there. So finally, we recognize, and the slide that I had up earlier that showed VMs, it also showed some information on the right-hand side, highlighting the fact that we've also gone beyond VMs to partner with VMware and offer other solutions that are maybe not in the virtualized space, like Cray for high-performance workloads, NetApp so you can get high-performance filers. And with VMware, what we've done is offered this product called Azure VMware Solutions. And that's an Azure service that delivers native VMware infrastructure in Azure. So Microsoft provides and supports the management services and systems, the networking services, operating platform, and the back-end infrastructure so that you can run your native VMware environments at scale in Azure. And we've integrated that with management and Azure control plane. So our customers, the advantage here is you get to keep using same tools you already know, and you can operate your VMware development deployments in Azure instead of on-prem. So this isn't new. This is already GA. We GA'd this a few months back. But what is new is that we're announcing here at Ignite that we're expanding the regional presence on that from 3 regions to 10 by the end of April. So I want to point this out because VMware, obviously, those are VMs. They're not the Azure VMs, but it's an important part of that choice and flexibility and breadth of giving you what you need to bring your whole estate, not just the portion that could easily be migrated into Azure VMs. And then finally, I want to close this first section by talking briefly about some of the things that we do to help fill in a couple gaps or pain points that we've heard from customers. So we recognize that it can be difficult at times while you're scaling up your workload to pick the best size. And especially this is true when you see the big jump from 32 to 64 vCPUs. So 1, 2, and 4 kind of things are pretty close together, but 32 to 64 is a big jump. And so to simplify that a bit, we've recently introduced new 48 vCPU sizes. And those are available in the D, E, F, and L series of VMs, which constitutes sort of the bulk of most use cases. This helps you more easily resize your VMs and gradually add size as you need it, rather than having to over-provision and go to 64 in one big jump. So these sizes are all generally available now, And they're available in the same geographies where those series are already sold, which is most, if not all, of our regions. Okay, so scale and performance. So one of the things we're announcing here and talking about is now the general availability of Azure Generation 2 VMs, or Gen 2 VMs. And what these are is an update to the way the hypervisor actually works, where instead of the old BIOS-based architecture, it's now a UEFI-based boot architecture, and that allows a number of things to be built on top of it, including some more security and trusted boot features, which you'll likely see coming soon. But additionally, it also removes some of the limitations that have existed in the old BIOS architecture and allows us to offer VMs up to 12 terabytes of RAM, for example, and it allows you to provision OS disks that exceed 2 terabytes. It also allows access to some other new technology like Intel's SGX. So interestingly, Microsoft introduced Gen 2 VMs in Hyper-V way back with Windows Server 2012 R2. If anybody remembers, who remembers Server 2012? Who's still running Server 2012? Okay, excellent. You're not alone. We had these capabilities existed for a while, but they haven't really been available in public cloud until recently. And so what we've seen as more and more customers start migrating is that there's a need for them to migrate their on-prem Gen 2 VMs into cloud easily. And so we've updated the Azure infrastructure to also support Gen 2 to make that easier. Then we'll also be building more features on top of that, and we've already released a 12 terabyte VM, for example. So if you want to take advantage of those features, you can very easily, through the portal, create Gen 2 VMs, either running Windows Server or Linux OSs. So one of the things that we see when we talk to customers is that the performance of your applications is kind of critical to the success of your IT organization. And that application performance can directly impact your customer satisfaction and ultimately control how your business grows. And so there's a number of factors in that, of course, but one of the ones that we see rather frequently is network latency can be a factor. And that's impacted, among other things, by the distance physically between where your pieces of infrastructure are deployed. So I'll give you a typical scenario. I have a customer use case where you have a workload that's on-prem. It's in a network that has very short network latency distances between, say, your database tier and your application tier. And you move that to cloud, and you put the databases in one availability group, and you put the application tier in another availability group. And those VMs are in the same availability, or in same zone or same region, but who knows where they are in our data center. They could be quite far apart physically. And what that means is that you might have an application that's used to sub-millisecond or maybe even tens of microsecond latencies that now all of a sudden has a couple milliseconds of latency on every transaction. And maybe that sounds like no big deal, what's a couple milliseconds? But what might happen, what often happens, is that that application, not having seen that as a performance bottleneck before, might have a lot of back and forth between those two tiers. And now we multiplied that back and forth by 5, 10, 20x. And so what that can do is start to become a real problem for you in your application. And we've seen this in a number of use cases with customers. So what proximity placement groups does is allow you to control how close your different resources are placed to each other. And so when you create a proximity placement group, we then try to place those resources as close together as possible. Just to give you an example of this, using proximity placement groups, SAP was able to bring down their latency to less than 0.3 milliseconds between all of their system components in some tests that they've run. And that translates to the kind of performance they're looking for in cloud, regardless of other factors. So this is a really cool feature a lot of customers have been asking for. I definitely suggest you check it out. And one of my teammates sitting over here, Ziv, will be giving a talk on this, I think, later in the show. So now I'm going to talk about VM scale sets. All right, one more exercise. How many people here are using VM scale sets? Excellent. What is that? 40, 50, 60? So I bet if there were 50 of you that raised your hand, and I went around and did a survey, I bet there's at least 50 different ways of deploying your infrastructure using VM scale sets. maybe more because you probably have more than one application. And so we recognize that there's a lot of customer variation in how you want to deploy. And so what we're trying to do with VM scale sets is always look for ways that we can increase the flexibility and functionality so that you can tailor them to your particular use case. So today we're announcing a number of new features. Most of these are available in preview today, which help you with that problem. So you'll now be able to create an empty virtual machine scale set and add VMs belonging to different VM series later during the VM creation process. This allows you to achieve higher availability because you can add VMs that are across fault domains and within an availability zone. And it also just allows you more flexibility. You can also now provision VMs using custom images, with the custom images being put in Azure Shared Image Gallery. And what that does is provides a scalable way to easily and quickly share that same image across different VMs, which is a great acceleration for provisioning times. So next, we've done a number of things around scale-in policy and determining how your VMs are deprovisioned. First of all, we have some new scale-in policies that let you determine the order that VMs would be deprovisioned when the scaling signal suggests that your scale set can be smaller. We also have a new instance protection feature that lets you designate specific VMs that you don't want to go away, which is a fairly common use case we see if maybe there's a VM that's busy doing some work and you don't want that one to go away quite yet. VM scale sets can skip over it. Finally, we've also given some new termination notifications, and that gives you up to 15 minutes to perform any cleanup work that you might need before those VMs are deprovisioned. So like I said, all these features are available in public preview today, and they should help you get your applications up and running more quickly and give you additional control over how your applications behave under load. Okay, cost effectiveness. Everybody still with me? Cool? Excellent. It's morning. Check in. So last but not least, like I mentioned, at least a few of you said you were interested in cost effectiveness, cost management. I think a lot of you probably are. So I think I lost my mic there. Where we go. Especially in the early stages of the cloud adoption journey, we see that a lot of customers are very focused on cost, especially as they're shifting from a CapEx to an OpEx model. And what we want to do is provide solutions that we think of as around 3 different vectors. So first of all is flexibility of consumption models. Second is providing you with tooling to track and optimize your cloud spend. And finally, we have some unique pricing advantages that are only available on Azure, and I'll talk about those. So first of all, Azure reservations. We offer these for a 1 to 3 year term. And you can use these to help reduce your cloud consumption costs up to 72%, especially for your base workload, which you know you're always going to be using. You can also combine those with prepaying for Azure services, and for example, that can save you up to a total of 80% on Azure SQL. On the Linux front as well, for SUSE and Red Hat, if you're buying licenses from us, our customers can pre-purchase the software for a 1 year or a 3 year period, and that too can yield pretty significant savings. Finally, we also offer low priority VMs, which enable our customers to run fault-tolerant workloads, things that can be interrupted, at up to 80% discounts compared to our standard VM rates. So we also recognize that as your environment grows, we need to provide tools to help you reduce cost. And we offer great tools such as a cost management tool to help you optimize your overall cloud spend. Within that tool, you can track your resource usage, manage costs even across clouds with a single unified view, and you can access operational and financial insights to make informed decisions. So that'll help you increase accountability. You can do things like set budgets, you can allocate costs, you can build chargeback models, and this is all integrated with Azure Advisor, which is another tool that we provide in the Azure portal. So Advisor is interesting because not only does it, so cost management lets you make those changes, Advisor suggests what changes you should make. So it'll give you a recommendation, for example, that maybe you should use a reservation because it sees a VM that you're running all the time, and it sees that you could save money on that. It will help you right-size VMs to fit your workloads and remove, or it'll also help you do things like remove idle resources. So lastly, there's a couple unique offers on Azure. that I mentioned briefly before around hybrid benefit, which helps you use your existing Windows Server and SQL Server licenses in Azure. Combined, we think that these really help you capitalize on a number of different ways that you can optimize your spend. So that's an overview. We also have some additional features that I'll dig into in more detail that help you with this. Reducing cost doesn't just mean using tools to optimize what you're spending, but it also means us introducing new capabilities that are inherently more cost efficient. And this one is basically free, turns out. So ephemeral OS disks are created on the local virtual machine instead of saved to remote storage. So they work especially well for stateless workloads where you're not going to be modifying that disk permanently and you don't necessarily care about the contents of that. So something like a scale set of web front ends that doesn't have any state on the local machine. Today you would have, if you weren't using ephemeral OS disks, you'd have to create an OS disk for each of those and you'd be paying the storage costs for those disks. With ephemeral OS disks, you don't have to pay that. This also helps exactly for, in that case, where if you're not concerned about an individual VM failure, but you maybe are concerned about the time that it takes to reimage that machine, this is a great product for you there because you can very quickly reset to the base state of that OS disk. So these can be used with both marketplace and custom images. And they can also be used individual VMs or VM scale sets. And they are available today. Finally, I want to talk about, well, not finally, but next I want to talk about a couple reservation features that we've been adding recently. So I mentioned reserved instances as a way that you can prepay in a 1 or 3 year model for a set of VMs. We also have a lot of things around size flexibility. So if you choose a size today, and then 6 months from now, actually it turns out you need to change, maybe to that 48 vCPU size, we have a model where you can do that very easily and in a self-service manner within the portal. We also have tools that can help you improve your budgeting and forecasting. And then recently, we also announced that you can have the choice now of lowering your upfront cash outlay by paying monthly instead of all upfront, and it's no additional cost for that. So one other thing I'll mention here is that we're also extending the reservation concept beyond VMs into other services and capabilities like Databricks, App Service, SQL Data Warehouse, and more. So finally, I mentioned a thing called low priority VMs earlier, and that was actually because I didn't want to give away the big surprise in our talk. The big announcement is we're actually taking that low priority preview and evolving that into a product that we're going to be calling Spot VMs. So Azure Spot VMs, this was a bit of a pre-announcement to be clear, and I'll talk about why that is in a minute. But Azure Spot VMs will give you access to our unused compute capacity at deep discounts. And we find that this is ideal for a number of different workloads that can be interrupted, and it might not need capacity all the time. So it provides that scalability while reducing costs. And there's a number of use cases there around grid compute, batch processing, movie rendering, simulation, and on and on. So what this allows you to do is create either individual VMs, which is a new enhancement over low priority VMs, or to deploy these as VM scale sets. And what we'll do then is give you the API to control how much is the maximum that you're willing to pay. The price will change dynamically, depending on the capacity and other factors for particular sizes. And then you'll be guaranteed that that machine, if you get it, is going to run until you hit that max capacity or that max price cap that you've set. So one of the reasons we're pre-announcing this today is because we'll be rolling out some changes and announcements to customers in the near future, specifically to low priority VMs customers that are using that preview, as we change some of that functionality from the low priority preview to what we believe will be the final product. So we want to make sure everybody's aware of that and start talking about it and trying it out. The more we get that usage, that helps us make sure that we're ready for general availability on that product. So stay tuned for a series of announcements about those API changes. All right, so I'm going to recap. I just walked you through a tour of some of our most exciting compute infrastructure features. We'll be talking about these in more depth this week at Ignite. First, I mentioned how you can leverage Azure's leading innovation to use the latest generation AMD EPYC processors in our new general purpose and memory optimized VMs. I showed how we're addressing even the most challenging single tenant use cases with Azure dedicated hosts in a flexible and cost-efficient way. Second, I talked about a number of features that help you get greater scale and performance from our infrastructure, from Gen 2 VMs to performance-optimized placement with proximity placement groups, and flexible control over how your VM scale sets behave. And finally, I talked about some of our price control and cost optimization features, reservations, new pricing models for reservations, ephemeral OS disks, and spot VMs. All of that in under 45 minutes. So last, I do want to mention some specific talks that are coming up so you can help maybe peel the next layer or two of the onion on some of these as you're interested. I kind of designed this more as a one-stop buffet to go over that broad range of innovation that we're doing in core compute, but definitely I expect some of you may want more details. So these 3 sessions are all in the near future. None of them have happened yet. Of course, if you're not able to make these, you can also catch them online. Everything will be available in streaming. So this afternoon, Drew will be showing off a number of those VMSS features that I mentioned. And tomorrow morning, my colleague Shriek will be talking about how you can leverage the breadth of our feature set across compute, specifically with an eye towards cost optimization and optimizing your cloud spend. And then finally, Christina will be sharing a little bit more detail on how we update our Azure infrastructure, keep it safe and secure, and how we're constantly delivering that new functionality, and how you can work with us to control how that maintenance works with your operational processes. And with that, I want to say thanks again for coming, especially for those of you in the room here today that walked all the way here. It was about 17 miles as far as I can tell. And I really hope this was a great use of your time and that you'll enjoy the rest of Ignite. And I have one more thing. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands anymore, but I would appreciate it if you could evaluate this session, give us some feedback on what we could do better or what you loved. Maybe not all the exercise, but all the same, I'd appreciate it if you could go do that evaluation, and that's available on the web or in the app. And with that, we are done. Thanks very much, everybody.